Hi folks, welcome to your Planning Outlook that's updated on Tuesday the 22nd of December. Now if you want a wintry weather pattern to close out 2020, then the charts ahead may be practically perfect in every way. I mean, they could be a little bit better. It'll be rather too windy on some days, but sub-zero conditions are becoming extensive as we get into the Christmas period, and there'll be widespread snowfalls across many mountains in the next week or so. Some places, some significant accumulations developing. The main point of interest at the moment is the strength of the wind that will really increase Christmas Day into Boxing Day. We'll start off with a look through the freezing level charts, beginning with Wednesday, and we've got some mild air again in across the south of Britain, but chillier air further towards the north, generally sub-zero across the higher mountains, and where there's a frontal system across northern England and Wales, we'll see a zone where the freezing level is just that bit lower, where we get some colder air associated with a belt of rain and snow. Quite a contrast then around that zone between milder air to the south and the colder air just north of that frontal zone. Now, as we head onwards into Wednesday evening and night, generally colder conditions become extensive as skies clear from the north, widespread frost developing by Thursday morning, and most terrain then frozen through the day from low levels upwards, just a bit of thawing on sunlit lower slopes as we go through Thursday daytime, Christmas Eve of course. Now, temperatures will drop rapidly as we go into the night. A widespread hard frost then for Christmas morning, all fair, clear and bright to begin the day, and the temperature only lifting gradually through the daytime, so that terrain staying frozen into lower slopes much of the time. Again, gradual thawing where there is some sunlight. The freezing level, though, will lift as we go through the day from the west across western Scotland as milder air just tries to push its way in. And by the end of the day, you'll be up to around 1,100 metres for a time across western Scottish mountains at least, and a bit further eastwards as we go after dark. But that's only short-lived because the freezing level will then fall as we head onwards into Boxing Day, dropping from the northwest to 800 metres, then 600 metres, and even lower as we head onwards into the evening and the night through into Sunday. And that extensive cold air is then going to be around as we head through Sunday into the start of next week. There'll be a bit of back and forth in just where the freezing level falls, but overall, frozen terrain is going to be extensive. Frequent hard frosts into the valleys and the glens, and the mountains generally sub-zero through to the end of the year. Here's your synoptic charts for the next few days. For Wednesday, wind in the east. That must be the sign of something brewing. It must be said it'll end up coming from the northwest by the time we go into Boxing Day, but let's not split hairs. Low pressure is centred towards the southwest. We've got that easterly gale across the Pennines, Lake District, and most likely the mountains of Snowdonia too. Fronts wrapped around the low, producing some constant precipitation, mix of rain and sleet and snow across the hills of northern England and Wales. For Scotland, a different story. Some snow showers and flurries coming in from the northwest, but toward the western side of the Highlands, a largely dry, bright day with comparatively lighter winds. Now, those fronts clearing away southwards into Christmas Eve, so we've dragged in that cold northerly flow by this stage. High pressure building to the west. That's been a pretty good signal for a few days that would topple its way in. Some snow showers coming down from the north, chiefly towards the Cairngorms, the far northwest highlands around the coasts. One or two might just clip the western side of Wales. A few down the North Sea coast as well, but broadly across the Pennines and the Lake District, it's a bright sunny day, but a cold one and a notable wind chill, significant wind chill on higher terrain. The wind's gale force, at least in the morning, easing down gradually with time, but a windy picture across higher terrain, so really noticeably a cold day for Christmas Eve on the mountains. As that high just topples through as we go into Christmas Eve night, that's where we get the frost forming. The chance of a few snow showers and flurries still around into Christmas Day, so White Christmas may be on the cards for a few places, but not really amounting to a great deal. On balance, we do have that strengthening westerly wind, west by southwesterly, coming into the Highlands, fronts passing toward the north, bringing that comparatively milder air in, but only a short-lived lift of freezing level. Be aware of the wind strengthening across the Scottish mountains. It'll strengthen in most places through the day, and likely to be getting to gale force across the Scottish tops by the end of the afternoon, and strengthening further into the evening and the night. Widespread gales then into Boxing Day across the mountains. Not a day for even attempting flying a kite, and forget about the umbrella, you'll end up in the North Sea. It's a cold front weakening as it goes southwards. That's bringing the first drop in freezing level as we go into Boxing Day. The next real cold air is tucked in behind the next cold front that comes around from the northwest with time. Constant precipitation pretty much coming into the western side of Scotland, showery bits and pieces across England and Wales as that front pushes southwards. So not a particularly good looking day, the best of any brighter, drier conditions toward the eastern side of the Highlands. Temperatures then and freezing levels coming down through the day. It all becomes quite messy by the time we get into Sunday as low pressure drags itself southwards across Britain, so it won't try and get too clever with detail, but it's a freezing cold day across the mountains. There'll be areas of snow showers rotating around this low. Some places could see that quite frequently. Other places you might find that there's some sunshine around and you stay dry much of the time. The wind looking light at this stage within the broad centre of low pressure, but just watch for detail changing a bit as we go through the days ahead. That's the broad zone of cold air then that's sunk itself across Britain as we go through Sunday into the start of next week. Now the big question then is how long any cold weather lasts. Well, it looks very likely to take us through to New Year at least, as the whole pattern pulls southwards. There's low pressure to the south, there's higher pressure building up towards Iceland. The wind is generally looking east or northeasterly, which could well strengthen to gale force at some point again early next week. Some frequent snow showers, maybe something a bit more organised at times, often that coming down to lower slopes, so the scope for significant accumulations just depends exactly on the wind direction by the time we get there, but that is looking quite a wintry pattern to close out the year. Beyond that into early January, bit of a question really how things develop. Many indications still favouring colder times being common. There may be a bit of a lift of freezing level for a time if the air just comes back off the Atlantic. Not easy to get that detail at this stage, so keep an eye on things and we'll keep you right up to date. So it's likely some serious winter messages will be in the forecast as we go through the Christmas period. Stay right up to date with us right the way through in all the MWIS content. Hopefully that's injected an element of fun into things today as well. Look, we didn't even manage to get supercalifragilisticexpialidocious into the forecast, but there we go. We tried our best with a few quotes, but hopefully that's given you some entertainment today. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.